Annually, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and its partners hosts Invasive Species Awareness Week to alert regions across the state of the impacts these species have. Eastern Great Lakes Watershed Coordinator from the DEC, Emily Sheridan, sat down to address the week of awareness.
We like to promote awareness about the impacts of invasive species on these services and encourage people to get engaged in understanding what invasive species are and the types of actions that they can take to help reduce the spread of invasive species, both in their own, daily lives or maybe even by educating others that they know to encourage more action.
Sheridan broke down invasives that are a cause of concern by categories. These categories included impacts to human health, forest growth, water quality, and impacts to native fish, plant, and wildlife species.
Starting with one that can have human health impacts, are giant hogweed and wild parsnip. This is can often be seen along roadsides and disturbed areas, but if it comes into contact with your skin, either one of these plants can cause a rash. There's also a number of forest pests which we're really concerned about because they can kill our trees. These include the hemlock woolly adelgid, which primarily goes after our long-living hemlock trees that provide some really important shade. Emerald ash borer, this is one that we're just starting to see in Jefferson and St. Lawrence counties. In places that have had emerald ash borer, there's 100% mortality of these trees. So we're really concerned about that. And then Asian longhorn beetle mostly goes after maples. That's another forest pest we're really worried about and keeping an eye out on.
Additional species of concern include the Eurasian water milfoil, water chestnut, round goby, and tench. And the impacts these species have.
What risks do these invasive species, they're all individual, but as a whole, what do these different species pose on our really precious North Country ecosystems?
The cumulative impacts of all of these invasive species are really, really harmful to our ecosystem, our rare and endangered fish and wildlife habitats, important fish species like our cisco and our walleye, and important bird species like breeding marsh birds and black tern, other species like moose, freshwater mussels. These are all, important fish and wildlife that are at risk because of the disruption to the food web that invasive species pose. And then, they degrade our ecosystem services as well.
And invasive species don't just affect wildlife. Sheridan stated that they are now threatening popular recreational activities in the North Country.
You'll see impacts to swimming, within that kind of weed growth. You're not really going to want to swim in all of that. And, it can clog up motors in boats and can really affect the fishery, the sport fishing to the point where the fishing experience is not as good as it was. You're not able to catch as many fish as you used to. Because of the disruption to the aquatic food web.
Although the list seems lengthy, the spread of these species can be prevented. Ways to prevent the spread in the North Country include learning to identify and report species when outdoors, cleaning hiking equipment when traveling to new locations, including scrubbing the bottom of boots, buying local or treated firewood, cleaning and draining boat motors when trailing to new locations, and learning how to properly dispose of invasive species. Invasive species in the North Country can be reported to local PRISM offices and your local DEC office. For ABC 50 Now in Watertown, I'm Isabella Colello. For more local news, go to informnny.com or download the ABC 50 mobile app.